The pod bay doors are open. Welcome once again. I'm your host, Jerry Dean Roberts of ArmchairCinema.com. Seated here with the gentleman from up north, the critic, dare I say legend, TopMovieMe.com, Mr. Doug Eller. How the heck are you today, sir?
The cause. The cause of living in the past is dying right in front of us.
Indeed it is. Someone once said to me,
We're talking about Gone with the Wind. Thank you for joining us at the Pod Bay Doors. One of these days we'll get an entrance that actually, before we
makes
actually,
sense.
start the conversation. One day.
Someone once said to me, the past is a wonderful place to live in, but you wouldn't, a wonderful place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah. Tom Petty said, God, it's such a drag when you live in the past.
Yeah.
But even the losers get lucky sometimes.
But we're talking about Gone with the Wind. This is long overdue because I don't know why. I just needed to find a place to put it, and I couldn't put it in February because that's Black History Month. But I've just been trying to land this somewhere, and I finally had a cause to do this. Is that I just made a video about it, and it was on my mind, and it has a scene at Christmas, so that's why we're doing this in December.
That means it's a Christmas movie in my especially liberal definition of what a Christmas movie can be.
Absolutely. I do not come to this to bury this movie. Not in any way. I get a little irritated when the movie is removed from anywhere. When they do festival screenings that used to traditionally include Gone with the Wind, now they don't include Gone with the Wind because it upsets people. And I'm always thinking, okay, then don't go. Just don't go to that particular screening.
Yeah. I mean...
But you're removing it for people not to be offended, but I'm thinking, wait a minute. They're not forced to go to this.
It is because it does celebrate that period in history. If I may quote the opening credits prologue, there was a land of cavaliers and cotton fields called the Old South. Here in this pretty world gallantry took its last bow. Here was the last ever to be seen of knights and their ladies fair, of master and slave. Look for it only in books, for it is no more than a dream remembered, a civilization gone with the wind.
But also consider this. The movie does for what they call the cause, does not glorify it. It creates it as this fever dream that they're having as the war is building up.
Well,
And they believe it's a cause that they believe they're going to win.
yeah. I mean,
Even with common sense in their faces.
I mean, and even Rhett says right at the beginning, and he still winds up joining the army. But it doesn't. It treats the South the way that we should have always treated the South, which is to say, you lost.
Get over it.
Yeah. And I saw a thing just recently that said, whenever somebody else says, "Why don't black people just get over slavery?" I think we will as soon as you get over losing your slaves.
There you go.
Because that hasn't happened yet.
The thing is, how far out now are we from? We're 160 years from the end of the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
It's still around. In ways both real and imagined, it's still around.
Yes. Because Reconstruction was not what the Germans did after World War II, which was ban everything Nazi.
And Reconstruction didn't do what it was supposed to do.
Reconstruction didn't do shit because Andrew Johnson was a fucking asshat.
Mm-hmm.
I have strong opinions.
I land this movie right in the middle of where it was made. And you have to
Yeah.
give every movie the time in which it was
Yeah.
made. And we did that when we talked about Song of the South,
Hmm.
is that you do have to land, you have to place it where it was. Because at the time, there were still Civil War veterans around.
I think the last two actually attended the premiere.
Mm. Well, the last one died in
That's
1959.
the legend anyway.
Yeah, the last one died apparently in 1959.
Yeah.
But there was at the time, and this is a weird thing that happened as we turned into the 20th century, that the South, so bitter about losing the war, created this narrative called the Lost Cause, which reformatted what really happened during the war into a narrative that played up the glory of quote unquote the Old South and
Right.
played up the South shall rise again and downplayed the part that slavery played
Hmm.
in it.
Even you know, even Tom Petty had that song "Rebels."
Yeah,
That
it's a good song.
it is a great song. Um, it's also kind of Old South glorification.
Yeah,
His tour for that album, which was called Southern Accents, which was half Southern themed and half co-written by what's his name, the other half of the Eurythmics from Annie Lennox,
yeah.
Dave Stewart. Weird Dave Stewart ones with "Don't Come Around Here No More,"
Hmm.
but also Rebels and Southern Accents and a couple of others that were really good. But his tour was very, stars and bars,
Hmm.
pro Old South, to which he actually, not long before his death, actually publicly apologized for being all rah rah Old South because he understands how wrong it was to be trying to present that.
Right.
And that was in 1985.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and if you look at it's just that narrative was so in place,
yeah.
based on the bitterness of and also the mourning. I mean, when the war was over, the narrative was really created by widows because they were the ones that were left.
Hmm. And it was
They had
all in
lost,
glorification of.
right. They had lost husbands, sons, brothers, cousins. It was 2% of the population, and that was how I hate to say it. That's how they dealt with it by reformatting it, and also how they marketed it
Hmm.
because it's hard to sell stories of the old South of losing the war. It's easier to sell books about the old South when you're playing up uh, the mythology that was created.
Right, the destruction of the culture.
Right.
And
Right.
not.
And well, and that's where Margaret Mitchell came from because
Yeah.
she grew up listening to stories from old Confederate veterans.
Hmm.
That's where Gone with the Wind
Grandmother,
came from. Yeah, and her grandmother.
who was an old
And
Confederate.
right,
Yeah.
right. And the book was a runaway hit.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing. I recently read the book the first time.
Oof.
And anyone who's read the book may disagree with me, but I think if you put these characters, the main characters, in a different story, in a different setting, you would still basically have the same story.
Yeah.
Because the war is really just a backdrop,
It is. And
and that's a problem.
yeah, I mean, so basically what it kind of comes down to, the first half of the movie, which is set right at the beginning of the war,
Hmm.
up
It's
until
right as the war is about to start.
right up until the burning of Atlanta,
Hmm.
and then Sherman's march,
Hmm.
which was the deciding factor and the beginning of the end for the South.
Hmm.
So basically, it runs, from just almost right at the beginning of it to pretty much the turning point at the end.
But we're never at the war. We're never with the
No,
war. We're at
because
home.
here's the thing: there are there were then, and are many more now, movies about the war,
Hmm.
and there were, even at this point, very few things about home front.
Hmm.
Now, in
I
later
think that's what
years,
sold it.
right, and in later years, of course, there was like Mrs. Miniver
Hmm.
and several others. Well, even Cavalcade was kind of a,
Kinda.
which also had the word "damn" in it, by the by.
Hmm.
So
But
did
that was British, so it
So
was.
did Pygmalion, which
Mm.
was
But those were
Leslie
British.
Howard.
So
Yeah, so it didn't count, I guess, but they were in silent intertitles all the time, though. I don't
yeah.
know if those are new translation. You
But
know,
that was also before the Hayes Code.
that's true. That's true. I guess people were only scandalized after they were told they should be.
Right. Right. Well, and if you make it prolific, then obviously people are going to be,
Right. Right.
people
Yeah.
are going to be offended by it.
Yeah.
But we have, and I spent at least 2 months with this movie, really trying to crawl underneath it. What I think happens, and you may agree with this, you may disagree with this. What happens with this movie is that it plays the glorification of the Old South as a fool's errand.
Yeah.
Um, Rhett Butler comes into that room, the brandy and cigars. He comes in. He says, um, we're going to lose this.
Hmm.
You know, I'm telling you, there's not a cannon factory in the whole South.
No, gentlemen. Mr. Butler's been up north, I hear. Don't you agree with us, Mr. Butler?
I think it's hard winning a war with words, gentlemen.
What do you mean, sir?
I mean, Mr. Hamilton, there's not a cannon factory in the whole South.
What difference does that make, sir, to a gentleman?
I'm afraid it's going to make a great deal of difference to a great many gentlemen, sir.
Are you hinting, Mr. Butler, that the Yankees can lick us?
No, I'm not hinting. I'm saying very plainly that the Yankees are better equipped than we. They've got factories, shipyards, coal mines, and a fleet to bottle up our harbors and starve us to death. All we've got is cotton and slaves and arrogance.
That's treacherous, sir. Refuse to
And then they get really mad at him. He's like, "I'm sorry if you get upset by the truth, but we don't have the resources for
We
a
have no
war.
resources. Cotton and slaves and arrogance. That's
We
all you
don't
got.
have it." And they're like, "That's treasonous." It's like, because stating the truth is not treason. Stating the truth is
not
not
treason.
treason.
It may not be what you want to hear.
Calling out a lie is not
Not
treason.
Well, I mean,
Anyway.
but like I say, it goes into all of this, and it shows. And here's the problem: it shows what they've built for themselves. Because this antebellum South was built, and it was mimicked on European societies.
Mhm.
That how the class
With the
system
with the
was,
families, yeah, the caste
yeah,
system and everything. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
and they um,
So was New York upper society, honestly,
and Melanie
because
calls it.
doesn't Age of Innocence happen at the same time as this?
Oh yeah. Well, that's a little later. That's 1870s.
Yeah.
But same
Yeah.
same time period. But Melanie, there's a scene where she walks out with Ashley and she says it's a world unto itself. And that's what they wanted it to be. Now my problem is this. They show you all of this. They show you the pageantry of it. They show you how beautiful it all is. But there's an ugly underside that the movie is avoiding.
Uh-huh.
And that is the fact that it is built on the backs of human chattel slavery.
Yeah, well, this is written and completely done in the white perspective, which is literally there's a dark side. Not to be not to overuse a pun or anything or say anything awful, but there's a dark side, and this only shows us the romantic white person viewpoint.
There's a reason for that.
Well, yeah, because Margaret Mitchell's the only put that side in, and they they were never going to get any kind of realistic, era specific horrors, violent horrors of slavery on screen in
Right.
1939.
Well, a
It
couple of
just
things.
it wouldn't have happened.
One, that is not in the book, and they
Right.
were adapted. But there's also this. David O. Selznick, who produced this film, and I want to make clear, it's David O. Period Selznick. He was not an Irish Jew. Uh, was keenly aware. You have to make that distinction. It's not O. Selznick. It's O. Selznick.
I'm sorry. I got in my head uh, someone canting with an Irish brogue, and
Yeah.
it almost broke me. I'm sorry.
Happy Hanukkah. But he was keenly aware that this was like buying Harry Potter
Yeah.
in the late '90s. I mean, it was this book was a runaway bestseller.
Right. It didn't Selznick bought the rights either directly after it was published or before it was published, right?
Directly after, I think.
Yeah.
But what
For
happened was
$50,000.
he bought it with the realization of what had happened 25 years earlier with Birth of a Nation.
Mhm.
Because that movie caused such an outrage. I mean, even at the time of its release, was a massive outrage.
Gee, I
And kids,
wonder
if you
why.
don't know, and kids, if you don't know, The Birth of a Nation was the movie that portrayed the Klan as heroes and black men as predatory rapists,
Yeah.
and it
Which
caused
is
a
which is
massive scandal.
only a little bit almost hinted to in this, but they really
Well,
so
he understood this, but he couldn't put the horrors of slavery into this story and sell it to the public that was reading the book. It was hard for him to do that.
and
So,
you couldn't do that and tell the same story at the same time.
yeah,
Because those are the
it's hard
focus
to back one against the other.
the focus of this is Scarlett O'Hara.
Right.
And that means that we're going to see everything the way Scarlett does.
Right.
So her perception of Mammy is what we see. Her perception of, Rhett, we're getting her version basically of all of these people.
Mhm.
Or
It's her perspective.
that world's view of this. So of course, Big Sam is going to come up and say, "I'm gonna help you, Miss Scarlet," and she's going to be so happy, and they're going to be, "Oh, Miss Scarlet, you were so great, and we love you," and you know,
Let me tell you this. What Selznick did, and Sidney Howard, the screenwriter,
yeah, I
what
got
they
one on
did.
that one.
Well, there were like 50 people that had their hands on this screenplay. But what they did was they took the existing characters and built them up. Mammy is barely in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And so the character is there. I mean, it is absolutely a supporting performance, but the character is there. What gets me?
Wasn't she built up because they kept changing the script like daily, kind of like what eventually happened on Casablanca, but wasn't it like I think George Cukor while he was on really thought her performance was getting, so he kept adding stuff,
Mhm.
or he kept having them add stuff for Mammy, and
There
that
were
just kind
scenes that
of.
she was not supposed to be in, like the scene where she goes to see Frank Kennedy. That kind of stuff. She was not supposed to be there. That monologue that she has was pumped up at the end. And the thing is, these characters, the more you look at the film and the further you get, the further down the run you get, the less screen time they have because there are only four prominent black characters in this movie. The biggest part is Mammy, and then there's Prissy, and then there's Pork, and then there's Big Sam. Pork and Big Sam barely have any screen time on the film at all.
Really almost nothing.
Almost
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
Um,
A handful of scenes and maybe a dozen lines between them.
I was a little confused this time because I had written off the Prissy character as being comic relief.
Oh, she was not.
And then I watched the movie the other night and I was like, yeah, she's not really comic relief at all.
No, no. She is there to represent black ineptitude.
Well, a lack of education.
Ineptitude. Because they're a lesser people.
But Mammy comes off as almost as her conscience. Almost as
Yes.
Scarlett's conscience. It's
Yes.
like anything she does, it's like, okay, you don't need to be doing that.
Right. Right.
And I love my
And she's
favorite is
always there. And she's
yeah.
always ignored.
I like the fact that when she comes, I think it's when Scarlett is in mourning, and she says, Mr. Ashley Wilkes is coming up, and you waiting for him just like a spider.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right in her ear,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
just it's playing to her common sense. What I don't get now, explain this to me. There's a line that Mammy's has. I think it's her first scene. Where she says, "You can't show your bosom till 3 o'clock." I'm like,
Yeah. You can't show your bosom until 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
what?
There's actual written laws about when tits can come out. When was this done?
Well, you didn't hear about it. It's called the titty laws.
It must be a Georgia thing.
Must be a
I don't
Georgia
know.
you can't show your
You,
bosom until
you
3
people
o'clock.
down in the South have all these weird crap things. I don't know what the hell you do.
Don't look at me. I didn't write it.
Well, I think, see, there's really two movies here.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to do it, you could actually make three separate movies that are taking place simultaneously. One of them is actually like the truth about what's happening with slaves. The other one is the war.
What's happening with Scarlett?
Yeah, the war, and then what's happening with Scarlett. So initially they were going. Selznick had contemplated releasing this in two parts because he thought that the story was too unwieldy for a film at that time. And honestly, it is. Because
But I think
the
they play
first,
well off of each other.
they do, and I don't think the second part would have been nearly as successful because the first half was completely rewritten by Ben Hecht,
Yeah.
who didn't have time to read the novel. So Selznick and somebody else would act out scenes for him.
Sounds like when Disney was making Snow White.
Yeah, pretty much. And so, and then he would write it, and he would just do the dialogue and rework out all of that. But time ran out, and he was only able to do the first half.
Yeah.
And it shows. Because there is a life and an energy to the first half of this movie that is sorely lacking in the back half.
And I think it works in the movie's favor because the life and energy that's in the first half,
Is the Old
in the-
South.
in the second half, they've been beaten into the
Yeah.
ground
Yeah. It
by
makes
the war.
sense. It really
Yeah.
does. But I think if he'd have been able to have a crack at the back half, I think it would have at least been. I don't know if it would have been another 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think Hecht could have tightened this up a little bit, because there's a lot of we get it scenes,
Yeah.
you know, that sometimes just are unnecessary. Although I do like that. You know this because you did your video, but that scene when they were waiting for their husbands who were doing a
Oh,
raid,
the waiting for the death
the
list.
KKK late. Yeah, no,
No,
when
later.
they,
Okay.
yeah, later when they were doing that sewing thing, when they were the
After she's been attacked by the
right,
carpetbaggers.
right. So Selznick went to Hitchcock, who was on contract with him but hadn't made Rebecca yet.
Yeah.
And he asked him for a treatment, how to set this up for the maximum suspense. And Hitchcock actually wrote out a very, very detailed multi-page treatment on how to shoot the scene, how to do the angles, how to do the camera pushes, how to edit it.
And kept them all in the room.
None of it actually made it was actually shot. None of it was done.
I'd love to see his treatment.
I would love to have had that, because can you imagine a Hitchcockian suspense sequence
In the middle of Gone with the Wind.
in the middle? I mean, that sequence is pretty tense in and of itself when they're waiting for their clan husbands to come back from killing black people. But
When you were telling me that, I was imagining in my mind, because it is kind of Hitchcockian, that they are sitting at this table.
oh yeah,
And she starts reading David Copperfield, and as she's going through it, she gets deeper and deeper into the book, and it tells you how long they've been sitting there.
oh, yeah, a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
And couldn't she have picked something peppier than David Copperfield, for crying
It
out
might
loud?
have been all they had left.
That's true. I mean,
It
it's
may have
what
been
she
all
had
they
in
had
front
left.
of her, but
Yeah.
I was like, you could maybe
Dickens. No.
you could maybe raise this up a little bit. I realize that it's probably a new release at that point, but
Yeah.
that probably nobody had read it yet. But
Well, I sit there and I'm wondering about this because, and I didn't really notice this until this time watching it, is just exactly how complex the character of Katie Scarlett O'Hara actually is. Because there are times when you want to strangle this woman, and there are times when you're thinking, damn,
well,
she's phenomenal.
there's no point where you can't admire her. Even when
Well,
you,
there is.
even when you want to kill her, you can still kind of admire her.
The 14th time she should have thrown Ashley Wilkes to the wind. I mean, my God, it's all through the movie. It's when she meets him at 12 Oaks
How
as
many
a
times
teenager.
does he have to say, "I'm actually devoted to Melanie. I love her
and our children.
and our children"? Well, even before that, at 12 Oaks, he's like, "I'm marrying Melanie.
Yeah.
I love her. Maybe I don't love her as much as I love you."
Girlfriend, give it up.
Yeah, right. And then she pines for years. This film takes place over 12 years.
For a man who, I'm sorry, he's a good-looking guy.
Repeatedly says, no.
He's a good-looking guy, but I'm sorry, he's about as interesting as a bag of fertilizer.
Seriously, he is so bland.
I mean, when they're having the brandy and cigars moment, he's sitting there and he's like, he's sitting there and goes, well, if Georgia goes to war, I go with her. And I'm like, okay.
See, this movie, this performance
Where'd you dig that up?
It made me very hesitant to see Leslie Howard's other work, and I'm glad that I did, because he was a very, very gifted actor.
Watch Pygmalion.
Oh,
in
Pygmalion is
1938.
so good.
Yeah, that's in the Criterion Collection.
Yeah, yeah. He co-directed that with Anthony Asquith.
Hmm.
And he made a bunch of films during the war, and he was on a tour in Spain, and
Yeah,
his plane went down, and
yeah,
he
he
died.
got killed.
Yeah.
He's a better actor than this movie lets him be.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'll tell you
Well,
this.
he didn't want to be in it. He thought he was too old in it, and at I think he was 44 at the time.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
he
know what? You're
was.
looking at him in that scene in 12 Oaks when he meets
He's
Scarlett.
supposed to be 20.
He's supposed to be 20 and he looks like he's 40. I'm like,
And
he looks like your uncle.
she's supposed to be 16, and she
Yeah,
looks like she's about 30. So
14.
I saw 16, but
I think
really,
14.
in the book probably
Um,
14. In the movie, I think 16, because they always had to age. They always aged up the girls so that they could be lusted after legally.
yeah.
Sorry,
Well, I mean,
it's just a thing that they do.
well, and in the character Scarlett O'Hara, I love the fact that she is so complex that there are moments when, the whole pursuit of Ashley Wilkes is ridiculous, but her fortitude to keep going is unbelievable.
She, there is never a moment that she thinks about giving up.
Yeah. Even at
Like,
the end.
listen, I'm sorry, but if the last thing somebody says to me is in answer to my question, what am I going to do? The answer is, frankly, I don't give a damn. And he turns and walks
Walks out
away.
of your life.
You know
Yeah.
what? I think that's pretty conclusive.
But she says, I'll find a way to get him back. And you're sitting there going, lady, it's over.
You blew every possible chance with this man every single time you were in the room with him, and he showed her 12 years of kindness
He
in a
tried.
way.
He tried.
In his way, he showed her kindness.
Well, look, by the time they get married, I'm thinking it just has disaster written all over it.
Well, he says that at the beginning.
I mean, it has disaster written all over it. There's a marriage that just refuses to settle down because
Because
it's filled
both
with
of
so
them
many
are
problems.
convinced that neither of them are suited for marriage. They both feel they are unsuited for marriage, yet here
They're
they
not
are.
suited for marriage.
No, they're not, especially to each other. They're
And
perfect for each other. That's why they should stay the hell apart.
well, they're exactly the same. The
Yeah.
only difference is that he has much more freedom socially than she does
Yeah.
because he's a man. And
I saw somewhere when Miss Watley, the madam,
Belle,
is talking to Mel that is talking to Melly that she has a son who's away at school, and Rhett says that he has a legal guardian.
hmm
Two and
possibly.
two makes that's the same kid.
hmm Very likely. But Melanie, my God, can this woman please get a pimple or a hair out of place? Something.
Jesus. Well, I mean,
The only thing missing is a halo. I mean, really.
listen. Well, I mean, she did have deep black bags under her eyes as she was dying.
I mean, she's got that, but there's
You know,
not a single
every time she
personality
got sick,
flaw
she
at
is
all.
seriously the most frail person on earth.
And explain this to me. Okay. 12 years. 12 years Scarlett chases Ashley Wilkes. Now explain this to me. She knows it. Ashley knows it. Rhett Butler knows it. Mammy knows it. Somehow Melanie, who is married to Ashley, doesn't know it.
You know what? I think, first of all, I think Melanie's probably the best character in the movie outside of Scarlett.
You think so?
because I thought about this time. I think she absolutely knows. I think she absolutely knows, yet she loves Scarlett so much, and she knows, even when Scarlett doesn't, how much Scarlett loves Rhett.
Yeah, but when they're sitting in the carriage and the death notices are coming out, and she leans on her and says, "It's so kind of you to worry about Ashley for me." Really, really.
All of that, I think she worked hard to see the best in everybody,
Yeah, yeah.
and she knew Ashley wasn't going to do anything.
Hmm.
Even Rhett, there was a Ben Hecht line that got cut that said he's not faithful to her mentally, but he can't cheat on her physically.
Yeah,
But it got rearranged into he can't be unfaithful to her technically, but he can't stay faithful to her mentally.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, and the weird thing with these performances, the way that Ashley, the way that he had to perform this character, I genuinely thought he was going to get mistaken for a piece of lumber and put on through the saw. Like I,
Well, they got to rebuild Terra. He might be the perfect block of wood.
the filler, yeah. Um, but I mean, he does not ever really seem all that interested in her.
No. Well, there's a scene where she's trying to get him to run away with her, and uh, he's supposed to act like he's tempted to do that, but it's so badly acted on his part that I swear he is just giving her nothing.
Nothing. And like it's even when they catch her in his arms,
Hmm. Yeah.
it doesn't even look like there's anything amiss.
No.
Like it just looks like they might have been giving each other a hug. Like honestly, there is so
Well, but
little.
Rhett puts two and two together. I mean, at the very end of the movie, when he's hugging her and Rhett's standing there and he's looking, he's like, okay, Melanie's dead. There's nothing stopping her.
Well, and she went directly to Ashley.
Yeah.
Oh, hold me,
Yeah.
instead of to Rhett.
But then he left, and there's this cross communication because he left, and then
Right.
that's when she had her moment of clarity.
Mhm.
12 years too late. But she had her moment of clarity that you really loved her.
Yeah.
And then she realizes, I really need to be with Rhett. And I'm thinking, okay, you've been married for a number of years now. You had a child together. You have suffered the death of this child. And
And the miscarriage of another.
the miscarriage of another. And your marriage has been suffering and suffering and suffering. It has been nothing positive since it happened. And then it comes down to this, and I'm thinking to myself, when she says, I'll find some way to get him back, my thought is, no, this was over and hell and gone years ago.
Yeah.
This really died with Bonnie Blue.
Yeah.
Once that happened, I wouldn't have been surprised, because there is a statistic that says that parents who have an only child and the child dies eventually do split apart.
Mhm.
That's a statistic that they do eventually get divorced. And that's true here. But I was surprised it didn't happen sooner, because the whole thing with Ashley Wilkes is still hanging over. And he says to her, gets drunk, and he says to her, I'd crush your head like a walnut if it would get Ashley Wilkes out of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's like, you're not getting it. But on his part, he married her knowing that this man was still in her heart.
Hmm.
So it's also on him. It goes back and forth. It's very
Absolutely.
complex.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's interesting, and you'll think you'll agree with me on this. After the war, which is devastating, after this devastating war, the movie then goes into this third act with this marriage that just completely implodes. That is almost as devastating as the war was.
Yeah.
It's the war at home.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no peace to be had,
No. No.
and it's all based on who they are.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's. But I never got the end of this movie. It's when she says, "I'll find some way to get him back."
Yeah. I mean, and the funnier thing is, didn't Margaret Mitchell not only not write a sequel to this, but never write another book?
It's the her only published novel.
Yeah.
Yeah. She
Her,
didn't.
her and
She
Harper
really didn't
Lee.
live. I don't think she lived long enough. I think she died in '49.
Mm,
She died in an automobile accident.
I didn't know
But
that.
yeah, she died very young. She was in her 40s.
Hmm.
But I don't know what the process was for writing the sequel. I don't know how that happened. But
Oh.
I read the. I didn't read the book. I read the synopsis on Wikipedia of this book, and basically, what it's trying to do is it's fan fiction. It is doing every single thing it can to try and get these two kids back together.
Did you see the miniseries?
I did.
Okay. So, let me tell you a little story about the first time I saw Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
It was 1999.
Mm-hmm.
It was July of 1999.
Yeah.
I was a senior in high school. Maybe it was 98. Anyway, it was re-released, and so was Wizard of Oz, which I also I got to see both in the theater. But this was the
There's
first.
so many good movies out of 1939.
That was the first time I ever seen any part of Gone with the Wind,
Mm-hmm.
and it was on 35 in a movie theater
Yeah.
that had actually shown it when it was new.
Nice.
And then after that, 4 hours, we went to the video store. She rented Scarlet. We went back and watched that. I spent 10 hours with this fucking woman. Not my girlfriend, Scarlet. Although, wow, in
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
Not broken up.
I get it.
Oh.
But I'm telling you, I watched the miniseries, and I was like, this is from stem to stern every bit of TV movie.
Oh, it was there was yeah, a 90s TV movie.
Yeah, early '90s.
Yeah.
And it was just yeah. I saw it once. I was like, okay, I don't need to see it again.
Yeah, I have never I've never even found it on a site and gone, I'll get back around to this. Maybe I should watch this again. Never even occurred to me to try to watch
I
it.
watched. Well, I'm working on a video series of the Best Picture winners, and one of the things that I'm finally up to Gone with the Wind. And as I'm doing this, I have to talk about if it had a sequel or a remake. I have to talk about it. I just cannot sit through Scarlet again.
Mm-mm.
I can't.
No,
I
I'm not.
can't.
I would have left that to you because
I think I said at the time, look, there are some acts you just can't follow.
yeah.
That's all I had to say about it. And you watch this movie, let me tell you something. You watch this movie, and even as glaring as the racial problems are, uh, this is an incredible presentation. It's an incredibly made film.
Mm-hmm.
It is the best film that you could have made in the 1930s,
Yeah.
because it is the culmination of everything that had been building from the silent days,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of color, in terms of sound, in terms of music, just in art direction, all of that stuff that we give Oscars for now.
Right.
It's all there. And it's, as I was watching it the other night, I was like, this is incredible. And not just in the grand scope of it. There are intricacies, there are little things that happen in this film that I love. Is the fact that one of them is when early on we're at the party at 12 Oaks, and you see people coming in and out, and you see how glorious 12 Oaks looks.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. These grand staircases and marble and all of this stuff. Um, and then later, after Atlanta's been burned and Scarlett goes there, she walks in the house and she walks past the banister rail. The camera pulls back and back and back and back and back, and you see the staircase, and there's nothing at the top.
Yeah.
It's all burned. It's all gone. Everything. And it's a snapshot. It's this hellscape
Right.
of what it was before. And they don't they don't forget those details. It's like, okay, you just an hour ago saw this place in its glory, and these things that happen. There's a famous Street of Death when
Mm-hmm.
Scarlett goes into town to find a midwife from LA, and she's running around. She's looking for anybody to help her, and that camera pulls back and back and back, and you see how far back the
Mm-hmm.
dead and dying are laying in the street, and it
That
passes,
is a really, really remarkable shot.
and it passes the rebel flag
Yeah.
tattered.
Yeah. And it
What was it all
holds on
for?
that. It holds on that. And I love that.
What was it all for?
Right.
You
That
know.
look at what this flag brought
Hmm.
to your
This cause.
yeah. Yeah.
It's blood and cannon fire and death.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
sees that when she goes in to see Dr. Mead, and Dr. Mead is like, "We have run out of chloroform. We have run out of bandages. Okay, this man will be dead in 5 minutes, so we need the bed, you
Yeah.
know, and we don't have anything. We're just going to have to saw the leg off. You're just going to have to scream." And, it's,
Yeah.
it's
And
horrifying.
that's how it was. I mean, yeah, I mean they one could argue that if they had time to show how awful it was for the white people, that they could have shown something about how bad it was for the black people instead of
True,
how everybody was just so happy.
true.
By the same token, I still don't know where that would fit in the movie.
Yeah. If you want that, watch 12 Years a Slave. If you
Yeah,
want that story, or watch Roots.
yeah,
Roots really is the parts of this movie that they left out.
right. Yeah, because there could easily, I mean, you could have a third storyline going
Hmm.
easily,
About what the slaves are
but
going through.
but it would add another 2 hours to the movie.
The movie is long enough. Well, and also, and I mentioned this in the video, there's a scene that I never really thought about before. It's when the death list comes down. And it's when they start getting the death lists, the casualty lists, and all of that. There's a tiny moment where there's a woman who comes out of the crowd. She's got the list in her hand.
Mhm.
And whoever she was waiting for has been killed. And she walks up to a man, and she nods, and he turns around, he puts his hands up, and he strikes up the band. And this is all done in one shot.
Yeah.
The camera goes around and focuses in on this kid who's probably about 15 playing the flute, and he's got tears in his eyes. I never noticed, as many times as I've seen this movie, this is the first time I'd ever noticed he had tears in his eyes.
Yeah. I think it was his father.
I think it may have been his brother.
Could have been his brother.
Or, another brother. I think the three of them are related. Because
yeah,
it's silent.
for sure.
There's no words.
Right.
But it's amazing. It's told without words. It has nothing to do with the larger story, but it's this intimate little story reminding you that thousands of families just like this lost a loved one.
Maybe that was one of the very little bits of George Cukor's
It may have
footage
been. It
that
may have
got
been.
left in, because that was not a Victor Fleming shot.
No. Victor Fleming was very good at making the epic scale, the bigger, wider
Right.
shots.
Right.
But
It was amazing that he was even brought onto this, because he's like this macho. He did not give good direction to Vivian Leigh.
No.
She and Olivia de Havilland independently apparently went to George Cukor, and he continued to coach them throughout the. He basically directed them after hours.
Right.
When
Cukor
Fleming
was very good at directing women.
Cukor was very good at directing a lot of things, and people. He gets pigeonholed, but if you look at some of the really great stuff, even the two Victor Fleming movies that are very notable for 1939 were both worked on by George Cukor first, and Cukor was responsible for the way Dorothy Gale looked, because they were going to make her really glamorous and everything, and he's like, yeah, she's a farm girl from Kansas. That doesn't make any sense at all.
And they were also going to make the Wicked Witch beautiful.
Yeah.
Played by Gail Sondergaard, but they were like, okay, the Wicked Witch is ugly. So
Well, you have to make her ugly so that people hate her, see, because you're supposed to hate the ugly.
You're supposed to hate her, yeah. But anyway, I'm always watching this again, talking about the controversy. I always say this. If you hate this movie because of its representation, you need to watch it again and understand what the producer was really under, and understanding that it was very, 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 very difficult to tell that side of the story. As you said, very difficult to tell that side of the story without making the movie 6 hours long.
Right. Or even accurately to the satisfaction of the day's censors.
Yeah.
I mean, they took scissors to this screenplay after. You can't say it like this. You have to rewrite this. You have to redo this.
The Hayes office was all over it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to. There are a few moments that you do cringe when Gerald says something about you have to.
You have to be firm with servants, but you're firm-handed but gentle, especially with the darkies.
Yeah.
And I just...
But there's also this. At that point, he had lost his mind. But he's also a slave owner, so...
Yes, see,
back and
you
forth.
know...
Yeah, see, goes... I don't want to make excuses, but...
Yes, he has lost his mind. He's delusional to the point where he doesn't realize his wife has died. But does that really sound like something out of the ordinary?
It sounds like he's issuing sound logic.
Yeah, he would have said that to her had things not changed too.
Right.
So, yeah, he owned people. Let's not forget that. I loved. I love what is it? Thomas Mitchell.
Thomas Mitchell, yeah. Uncle Billy.
I love him. Yes, I will. I'll tell you that this is probably really far down on the list of movies that I would remember that he was in,
Mm,
because he's so much more dynamic in Frank Capra stuff.
mhm.
Specifically, uh, It's a
It's a
Wonderful
Wonderful
Life
Life.
and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington
Hmm.
and Mr. Deeds Goes to Town,
Yeah.
which he basically plays the same character in both.
He was one of those actors that was just around
Yeah,
everywhere.
and I
So was
love
Ward
him.
Bond, and he's in this too.
Yeah, and I love him so much. But like, I mean, Irish people were not Irish people today
Hmm.
really, really hate the people in America who call themselves Irish.
Yeah.
Many of them are on TikTok or Blue Sky or Twitter, whatever Twitter is now. I don't call it by its new name, which feels weird. But anyway, you know, they're on there saying all of you people who are in America who are Irish who somehow want to bring back slavery have not paid attention to what Ireland actually stands for.
Not read their history.
Because Ireland has been so subjugated over the millennia
Hmm.
that I don't think they ever had slavery on the island when they governed themselves.
Yeah, and they were so beaten and battered by the British themselves.
They wound up being slaves themselves.
There's a generational that's why they became, if you'll pardon the word, clannish, meaning family oriented.
Well,
Why they
that
became
was
so
their yeah
so tightened in
that was their heritage.
and so defensive,
Hmm.
really. Um, and that's the Irish. That's always been the Irish trait,
Right.
and he brings it here, and he tells Scarlett, uh, your home, your land, is the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that lasts.
Hmm.
Hang on to it, because someone can easily take it away from you,
Hmm.
as the Irish had experienced.
Right.
And so he brought that to America. He brought that with him, and he taught that to his children. It's the only thing that lasts. It's the only thing that matters.
By the same
And
token, I still have a hard time believing that an Irishman was a slave owner, but especially at
I
that
get it.
point.
I get it. I get it. I do get it.
And the
Uh,
Irish were not exactly a respected people in the 1860s in America.
oh hell, how many of them came to Ellis Island and were turned away
Yeah,
in 1900?
yeah.
Trying to get into
And
this country and were turned away because they were Irish.
yeah, I mean, and even you look at gangs in New York.
Hmm.
They take them off of the immigration boat, sign them up for the Union Army, and put them onto the Army boat and ship them out.
Hmm.
That's a little exaggerated for what they did, but
Yeah.
it's a good visual for kind of what they did.
Hmm.
And so as I've watched this over the years and I've learned more about how this country has treated Irish people and how the world has treated Irish people over time, I found it very difficult to accept that he would have been a slave owner. And therefore I start to find parts of this a little bit less believable. But
I don't know if Margaret Mitchell was Irish.
I do not know. Um, I, you know,
But I mean, look, she calls her heroine Katie Scarlett O'Hara. I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
she's not making her Australian.
Nope.
But yeah, I get that. I see
And
that.
so, like, and then when you see every interaction between Big Sam and
Pork and Prissy.
well, I mean, just Big Sam and Scarlet
Mhm.
when they are on screen together and they have
It's always I got your back.
ooh no, it's always yes'm.
Mhm.
Of course, I'll be here for you, ma'am.
Yeah.
And it's all the the, the pork was done the same way. Uh, Prissy, I'll tell you what. What was her? Butterfly McQueen hated Prissy.
Mhm.
Did not want to play her because she recognized her as a stereotype.
Yeah.
But and apparently when they were doing that scene where Scarlet slaps her,
Hmm.
Fleming kept having Lee actually hard smack her
Hmm.
to the point where she decided if she would get close to her and stage smack her, she would scream. But if she really smacked her, she wouldn't scream.
But
They'd
she
have to
wanted to do it. She wanted to do it because there's a scene early in the film when she slaps Ashley. She thought she should do it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can plainly see that she's not striking
Yeah,
Leslie Howard.
yeah.
They put in the sound effect that you can clearly see that she's not doing that. I think that's what she wanted to do with Butterfly McQueen, but there was this, yeah, there was
Fleming was
this,
kind of a sadist,
yeah.
and I'm sure he was a racist. Um, I mean, wasn't he best friends with Douglas Fairbanks
His
Sr.?
best friends with
Like,
Clark Gable. They went
and
big game
yeah,
hunting.
yeah. See, and that tells you everything you need to know about the man.
Yeah,
I love Clark Gable's work, but he was kind of a shitty person.
he was,
The
except,
only reason he did this movie was so that he could get $50,000 so that he could divorce his wife and marry Carol Lombard.
except there is and I don't know if this has been confirmed or not. He was very protective of Hattie McDaniel. And
You know, I would actually really believe that he would not be consciously or openly or publicly racist.
mm,
He seems like he would be. First of all, I
and
kind of
she was known around Hollywood. She
yeah.
was respected
Hmm.
around Hollywood.
This was not her first movie.
Not at all. Not and certainly not her last.
No, no. She was. I mean, hell, she was in Imitation of Life in '33. She was a major character in that.
Let's talk a little bit about Hattie McDaniel because
'34.
I got to get this out because she famously said, and it may have been just to keep her job, I would rather make $700 playing a maid than $7 an hour being one.
Yes.
But she may have said that to placate the people who were hiring her because she couldn't say what she really thought or what
Yeah.
she really felt. Her Oscar acceptance speech is simultaneously very emotional but very professional.
Yeah.
It says, "Thank you for the award. I will always treasure it. I will do what I can to always be a tribute to my profession and my race." It is not ingratiating at
Hmm.
all. Um, there is, and I've heard this a million times now. You may not, people listening to this may not know this. Her Oscar has disappeared.
Yeah.
Um, and in searching for it, in searching for information about it, it is thought that she donated it to her alma mater. Now,
Hmm.
I have a theory about this. Um, the place was renovated or remodeled in the 1960s.
Hmm.
Okay, she died in 1952,
Hmm.
and it is possible that the person looking at her award may not have known that it was an Academy Award, and I'll tell you why. This was the third year that the Academy gave awards to supporting actors and actresses. Okay. For the first few years, when you received an award for a supporting performance, you didn't get an Oscar statue.
Oh.
What you got, and if you're watching this on screen, you can see it. What you got was something that looked almost like a paperweight.
Hmm.
It had a flat back, and it was, like I say, it looked like a paperweight. So it's very, very likely that the person picking up her Oscar during the renovations may not have known it was an Oscar at all.
Right.
So it may have that's my theory anyway. I would love it if someone could find it.
I would love it if they would just go, maybe we'll reissue one.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But
just
it's not the same. It's not the one they gave her. It's
true, but it would still be something.
something to put in the museum.
Yeah. Although I'll never forget when before they opened that, when Wanda Sykes was at the Oscars doing the tour, and they're like, and then this blank space is for Hattie McDaniel's Oscar, and she goes, yeah, it also is holding the space for the first black director.
Still waiting. Even Steve McQueen didn't win the Oscar.
Nope. Nope. But Ryan Coogler could.
Ryan Coogler could. It's going to happen, I think. There's that sticky thing that happens because Hattie McDaniel won her Oscar in 1940. And it didn't happen for 24 years to any actor of color until
Sidney Poitier.
Was it Lily the Field?
Yeah, I think so.
And then it didn't happen again until
Whoopi
Goldberg, 1991, for Ghost.
And then it didn't. Well, no. Denzel Washington, 89
Denzel Washington, right?
for
was,
Glory.
Yeah,
and
2 years earlier.
But Whoopi was the first black woman
actress. Yeah.
to win an Oscar.
And I forgot Lou Gossett Jr.
Yeah.
Also. It's getting better. It's still got a long way to go.
Man, it is like punching through hardening concrete.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll say in the last 20 years it's been a lot better.
But when you think about it in a context of length of time between,
mm-hmm.
bear in mind that it was what year did Will Smith win? 23?
23.
He was the first black person to win lead actor since 2006 when Forrest Whitaker won.
Okay.
Which
Jamie
is
Foxx was
almost 20 years. 2004.
2004. Okay. I'm thinking. And
Denzel Washington was 01.
Yeah. It's happening with a lot more frequency. I mean, it's not.
There still has not been another black actress for a lead actress role win since Halle Berry in 2001. She's the only black woman to win a lead acting Oscar.
A couple of years ago, I read the book.
She's never been nominated since.
But what would she have been nominated for? Because she hasn't really been given the work.
That's true.
The
she got the
X-Men
Oscar
wasn't exactly.
poison, unfortunately.
The X-Men wasn't exactly.
Yeah, no.
Well, I read a book a couple of years ago called Oscar Wars, where the last chapter of that book, he talks about the Oscar so white issue. He talks about Hattie McDaniel and Sidney Poitier and Halle Berry, and he interviewed Halle Berry, and she said, "I got my Oscar, and I went up there and I said, this is for every nameless, faceless woman of color who now has a chance because this door has been kicked open." And she said, "I look back on it now," and she said how naive I was
Yeah.
because it hasn't happened since.
Nope. It should have happened several
It
times.
should have happened several times. It had ample opportunities to happen.
Hmm.
It had ample opportunities to happen. How long has that been? That she won in 2002,
Yeah.
and
For Monsters Ball, the 2001 movie. So
almost 25 years.
yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I'll note, yes, Viola Davis does have an Oscar
Supporting,
supporting.
but it was a hell of a performance.
Listen, I'm pissed off that it wasn't categorized as a lead performance because she has more screen time than Denzel does.
As much screen time,
At
I
least.
think, at least.
And they're like, oh no, it's supporting. Really?
I'm not giving in to this thing of they put her where they thought she could win. I'm not giving into that anymore because they
Oh, I
had
don't
ample
believe
reason.
that at all. I think they try to diminish performances.
I mean, I'm happy she has an Oscar. I really am.
I am ecstatic she has an Oscar. I think she should have 4 others.
Mhm. Um, it's very tricky, though.
It's very frustrating.
It's very frustrating. It's also very tricky
Yeah.
because, as I said, when I started my Best Picture, uh, when I started my Best Picture project, I said the thing to remember about the Oscars is that the voting process, the process of actually picking the awards, takes place in a very, very, very narrow window. So when you complain that Singing in the Rain didn't win the Oscar for Best Picture, you have to look back on it and you have to say, okay, why do you think it didn't win the Oscar? Not because nobody liked it, but because its clout didn't build up until much later.
Right. And it's, I mean, that wasn't even nominated for
It was nominated for some
anything.
awards, but it didn't win. It wasn't nominated for Best Picture because that year was just seen as another movie. It wasn't thought of as this legendary classic. It just wasn't
Right.
until,
And It's a Wonderful Life bombed.
but it won. But it was nominated for Best Picture.
It was nominated. It did not win.
But the
It
best
was
years of our
nominated because it
lives,
was Frank Capra.
but the best years of our lives came out 1 year after the war ended. So
Yeah.
that, and it's a great picture,
Yes, it is.
I mean, it was so prescient at the moment.
Yeah.
And It's a Wonderful Life really didn't hit the zeitgeist until the 1960s, until its copyright ran out,
Hmm.
until they filed the wrong paperwork and it ended up on every station and everybody could see it. Um, but you always have to look back and you say, okay, um, what was the Academy's thinking at the moment?
Look at Cavalcade. Cavalcade was a massively popular Broadway hit by Noel Coward in 1933 and years before. It had been on Broadway for a long time.
Hmm.
And that is how it won Best Picture
Hmm.
because at the time the story, the idea of it was very, very, very popular. But now
Very
you look
prescient.
at it, yeah, but now you look at it,
It's a
and
chunk of drywall.
every single scene is more static than the next. Like,
Hmm.
you
It's very
almost think that they're
stagey.
going to start walking backwards. Like, they had not figured out by 1933 how to transition a stage play to the screen without just making it feel like you were watching the play in a
This
movie
was a
theater.
British production.
Yeah.
and it was released by Fox. That was a British production. It was made with stage actors.
Right.
Clive Brook, Diana Wynyard, Herbert Munden. They were stage actors. They were not movie actors. And that's why
Right.
Diana Wynyard, who was so celebrated on the British stage, didn't make many movies.
Right. Well, they
But
looked down on it,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah, they looked at it as a sort of a gutter art.
Hmm.
And I, but I look at all of this, and people always say, "Why didn't that movie win?" And I'm always like, "Well, there is a reason why that specific movie didn't win."
Hmm.
Although the one
Homophobia is why Brokeback Mountain didn't
I
win.
was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that.
And
But
that is well documented.
but
The
you
fact that
look
they
at it,
gave it to Crash instead, though, I mean, wow.
Crash,
When
really?
when there was Good Night and Good Luck, when there was what else was nominated that year? At least a
Yeah,
couple of others that were much better than what Crash was.
way better. I mean, uh, but you're yeah. Sometimes you do wonder because, but again, there are specific reasons. Mrs. Miniver, to me, does not hold up. But you look back on it and you realize this was in the middle of the war.
Hmm.
And you're like, okay, people went to that movie in droves and they were moved by it.
Mrs.
Now, it
Miniver,
doesn't
oh,
really work
absolutely,
now.
yeah. It the smaller stories kind of ring a little bit better,
Yeah.
I think, in Miniver than they probably did back in its time.
Hmm.
But had they not qualified Casablanca as a 1943 movie instead as a 1942 movie, as it very well could have been, and Miniver still won, I would be probably more mad at it. I would probably be as mad at it as I am at How Green Is My Valley. That even though that is a great picture, I still get mad about it
It's the
because
Welsh
there's
grapes of wrath.
no reason
Yeah.
why Citizen Kane didn't sweep the Oscars that year
Oh, there is.
outside of the absolute vehement hatred of Orson Welles.
Well, it wasn't just the vehement hatred of Orson Welles.
Well,
It
and
was what
the
happened with
yeah,
Hearst.
yeah, there was that too. But
Casablanca, though, went into production. I mean, the paperwork was finalized for that movie. You're gonna love this. On December 5th, 1941. Had they gotten the paperwork in front of them on Monday,
oh
we wouldn't have the movie that we have.
no, oh
Yeah.
oh
We wouldn't have the movie that we have.
oh my.
Think about it. So it's all everything. Movies are pieces of time, and they so exist in the times that they were made.
Hmm.
And it's important always to remember that. And when people complain about Gone with the Wind, I always tell them there's a reason that we have the movie that we have.
Hmm.
It was a combination of the book. It was mixed with the the racial temperature of the time, mixed with the controversy over Birth of a Nation. Mixed with a lot of things. It's the reason that we have the movie that we have, and it was a movie that um, I have those problems, but can still enjoy it for what it is.
Right, like the
Each film to its time.
the absence of realistic treatment doesn't detract from the story at hand.
Mhm.
Some of
But you do
the
notice the omission.
yes, you do, and the behavior of the slaves and then former slaves who decide to just stay with Is Mammy getting paid now? Like, because she
I
just
mean,
trots along behind her. Like,
they're with the families that they've been with probably since they were born.
yeah. And she said
And
she diapered three generations
which tells me she's not a midwife.
yeah. But she's diapered three generations of that family.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was happy that about Bonnie
Mm-hmm.
and coming back home. And I'm like, three generations?
Yeah. How old is
Damn.
she?
Yeah. It like by the end of it they started to put makeup on her to make her look old,
If you'd like to
but it's
know,
kind of subtle.
if you'd like to know, there's a book called Rhett Butler's People, and it's canonically in the universe, officially canonically in the universe of this movie. And if you'd like to know, Mammy's real name is Ruth.
Hmm.
Most people don't know that because I've always wondered. It's like I know Mammy is like a title, but I was always wondering. It's like what was her name? It's like her name was Ruth. Apparently, they added that later. But anyway, uh, yeah, I'm always when I'm always afraid to bring this movie up to people because I have a lot of explaining to do.
Right, because I mean, listen, the dialogue that is given to the black actors in this movie is not their fault.
Comes out of minstrel
They
shows.
they did what they had to do to get a
Mm-hmm.
paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
The miracle is that there were black actors that were allowed to actually physically touch the white actors on screen.
There were black actors who were allowed to be in the film.
Yeah. Like next to them and then actually like touch them and it's it pulls me out a lot in those moments where there is just this blatant horrible just stereotype being
That
portrayed in front of me.
sociolectic dialect,
Yeah, and
which, as I understand it, was not. And I don't know this, so I may be talking out of my ass, but forgive me. Um, what I have been told is that when there was slavery, that oftentimes the slaves would affect a dialect
Mhm.
that was required them by the overseer, the master, or whatever. And it was built upon in the years following the war, and it was integrated into the minstrel show
To make them sound stupid.
to make them sound stupid. And it caught on in the minstrel show, and it caught on as we got into radio and movies and even television,
Mhm.
and it stuck around.
Mhm.
And fortunately, people caught on that this was bullshit early on, and when it started coming up in shows like Amos and Andy, people wouldn't stand for it, and they became justifiably controversial.
And the people like Jack Benny, who actively in his writer's room forbade them from giving Rochester stereotypical things. When he first came on, he always had a razor in his boot. He was always shooting dice. That
Mm-hmm.
went away over time because he realized that that was all bullshit. That was all stereotype,
Mm-hmm.
and he wound up treating Eddie Anderson as an equal member of the cast.
Oh yeah, he was a stand-up
And
guy.
he gave him this character that sassed back
Mm-hmm.
and wasn't afraid of the white guy that pays him
Yeah,
to any degree
didn't stand down.
whatsoever. Right. And so people like him, and then Frank Sinatra, who wouldn't play anywhere that Sammy couldn't go in.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, barriers started to get broken down.
Well, when you've reached that plateau that you are known throughout the world, and you go to a hotel and you're Jack Benny or you're Frank Sinatra or you're Dean Martin, and they look at you and you're saying, okay, I'm not going to stay in this hotel. I will go happily go down the street somewhere else and take my money, and I will happily stay
Hmm.
there if you don't allow Rochester to stay in the same accommodations that
Hmm.
I'm in, or Sammy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. That's not, we're not going to do that. And he had that clout.
Hmm.
It's sad that he had to have that clout to be able
Yes.
to do that.
Yes.
Because if it's anybody else, they could have told him, hit the bricks. But
Hmm. But, at this point,
and it should be also be said, Clark Gable was very upset that Hattie McDaniel was he vocally upset that Hattie McDaniel was not allowed to attend the premiere in Atlanta.
yeah, yeah. He threatened not to go,
Yeah.
but I think he got pressured or he was contractually obligated
Or they
and
waved the contract in his face.
right, something happened that forced him into it, but
Hmm.
for he was and that was up to the last second.
Yeah.
He was a holdout. But
Anyway, that's all
yeah.
I got.
Um
This has been a long show.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like I said, that's the all of that is detracting in the moment,
Mhm.
but in the story itself, there's a great introduction from TCM from a few
Jacqueline
years ago.
Stewart.
Yeah, and she makes the comment that for some people the story's so good that all of the other things, the periphery doesn't even occur to them.
Mhm.
And for a long time, I think that was me, but now I still see it, but I'm able to understand it in the way
Right.
that we're saying, like when it was made, the fact that Hattie McDaniel could talk back to Scarlett the
She would not
way
be
that
leaning.
she does.
She would not be leaning out the window screaming at her. That would not happen. Factually, that would not actually
And
happen. But
all of the, I mean, talk about somebody who knows how to stick it between your ribs. I
mhm,
mean, Mammy can hurt.
yeah,
Like, there's no way she wouldn't have been beaten within an inch of her life if she ever said anything like that once.
let me tell you, her best moment um, is late in the film. It's actually I think the last scene, her last scene in the film, is after Bonnie dies.
Yeah.
Melanie comes to the house, and there is a 3 or 4 minute monologue where they're walking to the stairs, and
It
Mammy's
is the
laying out
most beautiful exposition I have ever heard in my entire life.
because she's laying out everything that has happened because this couple has been tearing themselves apart for 3 days.
Hmm.
It gives you that factual information, but also at the same time allows you to understand, and it's her most emotional scene because it allows you to understand what she's been going through for the last 3 days, what she's been
Right.
stuck in a house with these people,
Right.
and
Right.
she's had to hear it.
Yeah.
And that's her last scene in the movie,
And
and it's
she's trying to mourn too
yeah,
because, she loved the baby too.
yeah.
You know, yeah, the story can outweigh a lot of that, and the way that I don't really forgive Selznick for going out of his way to avoid it, but I also understand again
What he was under.
how he couldn't have stayed true to the book while staying true to history
He
because
didn't really
the
change that much. He took the words out. He took a few words out, and then he took the Klan out of it.
yeah,
And
but
and he
really
but he did expand the role of Mammy.
And he was less racist toward carpetbaggers, quote unquote, or upwardly mobile black people than Birth of a Nation was.
Oh, I'm going to tell you this. I noticed this the first time. I did not notice that the carpetbagger who comes to buy Tara after the war, I did not realize he's the guy at the very beginning of
That
the
they
movie
fired.
that
Yeah.
they fired. I did
Mm-hmm.
not realize that. I
Yeah.
just connected that this time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she walks by him. He's had an illegitimate child that died, and she walks by him. She never looks at him. The mother walks by him and says, "Your child's been born. Fortunately, it died." And I was like, "Damn."
Yeah. Hey, he married her
Yeah. Yeah.
when
Well,
he
that
got
makes it
money.
okay.
That makes it
Anyway.
all better, right?
Right. What do we got next time?
Next time we are celebrating Christmas in Stalag
different-
17.
A different war zone.
1954, Billy Wilder, William Holden, was their first movie together?
And weirdly, and I did not know this because you buried the lead, the Commandant in Stalag 17 is played by Otto Preminger. You did
Yes.
not tell me that. He stepped out, and I was like, "Is that Otto Preminger?" That's got to be somebody that just looks like
Absolutely
it.
it was. He did Billy Wilder a favor.
And I looked it up, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got one of my favorite supporting actors in it, Sig Ruman. He plays Schultz. And
It is the basis for Hogan's Heroes, but it is not as funny as Hogan's Heroes.
No. I did see Sig Ruman has one of my favorite lines in To Be or Not to Be.
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, I saw him on the stage when I was in Warsaw once before the war.
Really?
What he did to Shakespeare, we are doing now to Poland.
I love that.
Yeah. We talked about that movie
Yeah, a couple years ago.
time ago. Featuring
Anyway.
Clark Gable's poor.
After that,
Yeah, after
you
that.
kind of stepped in shit with this one. Because I wanted to run into Christmas by talking about the year with the Christmas that almost wasn't. But then you popped
Now,
up
see,
and
I made a flippant, offhanded, funny comment that now I am tortured into 3 other horrible Christmas
now you gotta
movies.
sit in it. Because it started off as the year without it. It started off as the Christmas that almost wasn't, and then it turned into a 4-pack. Now it includes Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, Rene Cordova's Santa Claus,
From
which both of
1959.
which, if you want to watch this before the show, you have my permission, Doug, to watch the MST3K version. You don't have to sit through.
Oh, I've seen the MST3K version and the Riff Tracks Live version numerous times.
Also, The Christmas That Almost Wasn't, and from 1985, celebrating its 30th anniversary, Santa Claus the Movie. Starring the Big Lebowski as
And Dudley Moore.
And Dudley
as
Moore
a
and John Lithgow.
drunken guy who gets roped into something. Because
John Lithgow.
that's pretty
Having-
much what Dudley Moore's characters were.
as I said last week, this is a weird movie that it's almost a movie. You're just sitting there and you're like, okay, it's almost a movie.
I saw it so long ago. I was 4 when it came out, so I probably saw it on video when I was about 6 or 7. And I don't think I've watched it since, because even then I was like, yeah, no. That and Prancer. Oh, Prancer.
It's almost a movie. And you're just like, okay, if you it needed a couple of 3 runs through the typewriter, and an editor, and it would have been fine. But it's like it's one of those movies that's just kind of all over the place. It's kind of like when we talked about Life Force.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's almost a good movie. The movie is here. It's just not finished.
Yeah, which is so weird because that's Toby Hooper, and you expect a lot from him, and you
Yeah.
usually get quite a bit from him. But that was
It
not
was
a good one.
That was not a good one. This is the only time that Gone with the Wind and Life Force will be mentioned in the same video.
This is also the only podcast that. What did we follow Medea with Fanny and Alexander?
Oh, and how about the year that we followed? Was it Fanny and Alexander? And we followed it with Superman. No, we followed Superman 3 with Fanny and Alexander.
That's right. Yep. That may have also been the year that we did Rare Exports. I don't recall.
Yes. Oh, God. I remember Rare Exports. That was a disaster.
That was a great movie.
All right.
All right.
Take us home.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. You hit the like, subscribe, and notifications buttons down there at the bottom. We would greatly appreciate it. If you like us, tell your friends. If you hate us, tell your enemies. We'd appreciate either. We are not biased on that behalf because, well, we don't know you. So we thank you very much for listening, and the pod bay doors are now closed.
What the hell?
Oh, how fickle is woman.